be circulated. Also, just to make you aware of the fact that this is a webinar platform, so don't be concerned if you can't hear one another. Please make use of the chat box if you have any questions. All right. Right, so some of the topics that I would be covering today is just a brief overview on the Web of Science, touching on things such as building better research with Web of Science search tools, also discovering trends in understanding citation reporting. I'm going to spend time on some of the additional resources. So by looking at easy identifying and accessing full text, we're going to touch upon building your profile with Publons. I did a more in-depth session last week. If you want a copy of that recording, you're also welcome to reach out to me. And then we're going to just briefly talk around the research assistant app, or called Myra. It's the Web of Science app. We're going to talk a bit around the manuscript matcher of EndNote and identifying where should I be publishing. Then touching upon journal impact factor and journal ranking indicators, just a brief explanation around that. And then also talk around the Web of Science Academy, which I think would be of great use, especially if you are embarking with your research career. Right, so diving into the first topic of just looking at the Web of Science and what it allows me to do and what do I have access to. Well, firstly, we tend to talk around the Web of Science, and there's a lot of talks around in South Africa looking at accreditation, so to ensure that I publish in an accredited journal. Then there's also, of course, the aspect related to NRF rating, looking at what data is used within that context. And all of this is tied to the Web of Science core collection, and more specifically, this resource is hosted on the Web of Science platform. So when I talk about the Web of Science platform, it means I present it from a holistic platform perspective that allows me to access different resources and databases on a single platform. So some of your institutions, of course, there's different databases that you can subscribe to. So some of the institutions in South Africa have access to the complete Web of Science platform, where others would have subsets of that. So in other words, maybe subscribe to the Data Citation Index, as well as the Web of Science core collection. So I'm just providing a brief overview. So when we talk about the Web of Science platform, in the center of it all, as you can see in the center of the screen, is the Web of Science core collection, with specifically a focus on the Science Citation Index, the Social Sciences Citation Index, and the Arts and Humanities Citation Index. The Green 3 Citation Index really is the foundation of citation indexing, and started back in the 1960s by late Dr. Eugene Garfield. If you want more information about citation indexing and the history behind this, you're welcome to reach out to me. In South Africa, this plays a really important role in accreditation. It's referred to as the ISI list by the Department of Higher Education and Training, and it's known as the primary indexes within the Web of Science core collection. Alongside the sciences, social sciences, and arts and humanities citation indexes, you also have access to the emerging sources citation index. And then some institutions also have access to the book citation index and the conference proceeding citation index. Alongside that, we have the option to obtain access to different collections. So we've got the patent database, which is Derwent Innovation Index. We've got the data set and data sample and data studies platform or citation resource called the Data Citation Index that brings together all these data repositories around the world. And then we've got speciality collections, zoological records, as example. If you have access to this and you are in the field of zoology or taxonomy, this is the oldest database within that field. And then also the broader life sciences, we have Biosis Citation Index as an example. And then regional collections, everyone in South Africa has access to Cielo Citation Index as part of the deal that you have within South Africa, as well as in Botswana. So Cielo Citation Index is a project from Cielo in Brazil, and we've got a South African collection as part of it. And it's an open access citation resource, and it's hosted exclusively on this platform. And then you should also have access to the Russian Science Citation Index and the Korean Journal database. And then there's specialty third-party databases that can also be accessed on this platform, including Medline, which everyone has access to. All right, so that is the Web of Science platform. So within the Web of Science platform, as I mentioned, is the core collection. So the Web of Science core collection covers over 21,000 active peer-reviewed journals. It really is when it comes to citation indexing, it has the reputation of being the gold standard citation resource because it provides unmatched coverage, cover-to-cover indexing. And it's really important when it comes to research discovery, but also if we go into the broader context of research evaluation, looking at citation footprinting, which we'll touch upon today, and really looking at what is the unique benefit of having the linked citations. The Web of Science core collection provides us with a publisher-neutral citation index because Clarivate is not a publishing house. They only index journals that have reached a certain standard outlined by them. So they would index all the publications that have reached that standard. Once it gets indexed to be covered, cover-to-cover indexing takes place. In other words, every author, every address. So we have this powerful bibliographic and cited reference network with over 1.7 billion cited references that are linked. So it really helps us to connect ideas and looking at bridging terminologies and disciplines, and that's what we're going to do today. And they are completely, as I said, unbiased in their editorial selection. So what does it give us? Well, it gives us a complete research landscape on any topic. So you are able to search cited references, all author names and addresses are captured. It's also a very powerful resource to obtain funding information. There's a standardized institution name that really helps you to save time. So if you want to, for example, look for research from Rhodes University or University of Johannesburg or Mangosuthu University of Technology, these have been unified, and it's an ongoing project to ensure that all variants and affiliations are grouped and standardized into a single entity. I've mentioned the cover-to-cover indexing, and the great news is it's updated daily. So we know we have access to the most recent information and the latest breakthroughs. All right, so how can we ensure that we build better research with the Web of Science search tools, and how can we really discover and understand citation reporting? So on this note, I'm just going to jump through to the access of the Web of Science. So just give me a brief second while I open up my interface. All right, so I've logged into the platform. I'm using the account manager at Clarivate Access, Sylvia Khoroni. So this is the new platform, and everyone by default will have access to this interface as of the 7th of July. So you might still view the classic version on your end, but just to know that from the 7th of July, everyone will have access to it. So I'm just going to run through a couple of things on this so that you are familiar with what's being done. So here we can see this is the search page. As you can see, a clean and intuitive user experience. At the bottom screen, we have the option to look at product updates. You have the option to go through a guided tour. So let's say, for example, you wanted to use search tools, so you can get started. So it helps you, for example, just to help you search. If you need to find an exact phrase, you can use it in quotation marks. The search engine will look for the exact phrase that you've typed. Wildcards are also known as truncation. It will help you to find different spellings or forms of words. The Web of Science has 3 depending on your needs. You can use them on the left or right or the middle of the word. So this means 0 to many characters. This means 1 character. And this means 0 or 1 character. And then you also have these search operators, which is known as Boolean operators. And it also helps us to add proximity operators. So you can use the and, the or, the not, the near, or the same. So for example, to find terms in the same line of an address. So Tulane, same chemistry or chem. So if you want to find records containing all terms within a number of each other, so stress near 3 words within the word sleep. So that's how you would be able to, so for example, if you wanted to include a search term, so let's say, for example, we wanted to do a search on hearing aids and not AIDS, HIV, you could say not HIV to exclude some of those research. So that's how you would be able to use the search operators and the search tools. So just quickly, where you would be able to find it is you are able to go to the guided tours. You can go search tools. And then, of course, alongside that is also the option to do a document search. And it will take you through the process that I'm going to show you now. All right, so that's how these question marks work. Sorry, if you also have a feature that you would like to suggest or contact, and then training, there's a training portal that you can also access, but I'll showcase where you'll be able to find it. And as part of the following, the recording that I'll send around, you'll also have useful links that you can visit. All right, at the top of our page, we've got the search page, we've got the mark list, which is a temporary folder that I've, as you can see, I've already stored some records in there. You've got your history and you've got your alerts. To use some of these, so for example, the alerts, you need to be logged in. So in the top upper page, if you access the Web of Science through your library, you'll be able to go to your library's A to Z database listing and find it underneath Web of Science. If you click on it, it will take you to the Web of Science, and then you can log in once you're in the platform. Once you've logged in, you're able to, for example, save your history and save your alerts or set up alerts. So for example, you can set up a search alert. You can set up a journal alert. So every time a journal, it receives an you can get then a email on the latest table of contents. And then citation alerts. The citation alerts is when a document gets cited, you would be able to track those citations. So if you're following a study, this is a really helpful mechanism to stay on top of what is being cited and by whom. Right. So that is alerts. Going back to the search page, as you can see, by default, it opens up on the Web of Science core collection, which is where I'll be doing my example today. But you're also able to go and select a specific database. If I search all databases, it searches simultaneously across the whole platform that you would have access to, including, for example, the Yellow Citation Index or the Data Citation Index. But currently, as you see, I'm in the Web of Science core collection. And you can, from default, decide which of the indexes do you want to include. As I mentioned earlier on, so Arts and Humanities Citation Index, the Sciences Citation Index Expanded, and the Social Sciences Citation Index, these are the 3 indexes that are accredited. But in terms of discovery purposes and also ensuring that you get your complete citation footprint, it's important to select as many indexes that you've got access to as possible. All right. And then some of the searches, so we can do a document search. You can go and search for a specific author. You can search for references that have been cited. And if you have the chemical indexes, we are able to look and do a structured search. You won't be able to see this if you don't have access to the chemical indexes, and then you would only able to see the first 3. All right. So I'm just going to do an all field search. And I'm going to do, let's do expression gene. I'm going to do, a gene expression profiling. All right, you are able to add a row. So for example, you can add a row and then you can combine it with for example, a title or an author, or a publication title, year published, publisher. So for example, if you are keen on following a specific publisher's work and your reviews and so forth, you can type in the publisher. It's really nice to be able to search for publisher. So there's different options that you can find. Also, what they've added is the date range. So the date range is all about when the data was indexed in the database. So of course, publication dates, those are the actual publication dates. Index date is the date that they made it available within the Web of Science. So of course, it's updated daily. So you are able to do an index date search if you wanted to. All right, so I click on search. Oh, sorry, I should have done. It's logged me out. Sorry, I played on the Web of Science earlier today. Right, let's do expression profiling, and let me add another field, genetics. All right, there we go. So here we've got gene expression profiling, and to pick up the specific records, I can see that I obtained 1,614 records. And the quick filters, it's because of my previous selections, it will remember the filters that you've selected and that you opt as your preference. So that's really nice. I can also search within the result very quickly. So if there was specific that you wanted to look into, so for example, myeloma as an example, and then it will pick up within the keywords. We can see in gene expression profiling, 41 records searching within the field of myeloma. So then you get to very specific fields. And this will allow me to, of course, track this as part of my research discovery to see if there are papers that would be of use to my own field, my own research project. At the side and the left-hand corner, we've got the refine panel, and we can filter for different things. We can refine for the publication year, document type, Web of Science category. So these are the categories in which the journals are being categorized in. You can also search for affiliations, publication titles. Those are, of course, either the book title or the journal title or the conference proceeding journal title. Publishers that have been recently, so if you're following a specific publisher, for example, Spring and Nature, you can filter for this. It will also showcase the funding agencies that have been acknowledged. Really great. You are able to see which of these contain open access information. And then you are able to go down even further to see how many of these are in the Science Citation Index. So 40 of these is the assumption that would be accredited. So we would be able to take it from that perspective. Also, what I'm able to do is whatever I've done in the refining and what I can see on the refining panel, I can also see from a analyzing result perspective. In other words, allowing me to identify those trends in a more visual basis. So it's the same options, but if I go into analyze results and I click on refine, I am able to see in which Web of Science category these papers were published. So over half of it is published in oncology. Of course, we're studying myeloma, so that would be the general understanding. We are also able to look at, for example, the affiliations that mostly, so it's Mayo Clinic, University of Kansas, and we are also able to look at the open access data. So 24 of these 41 papers have been published open access, which is really great. You are able to download this image, or you can go to the bottom where you're able to see the data based on the aspect that you've defined. So if I go back to Web of Science category, it's going to, of course, list those categories. Right, so let's say my field is the field of hematology, and and perhaps also in some extent cell or maybe pathology, and I want to look at it from that perspective. I can go and select the fields that I want to, and then you can refine it for those specific fields. So you don't have to redo your study. You can also download the table data. So I can then refine my results by selected, and it takes me back to my result list where we can see this was my search terms. It was refined by myeloma for the field of hematology or pathology. So here we are able to now look at, all right, so this is my field. So who are the authors that contributed most to this field in the last couple of years? So we can go and we can do the same, and we can go and find authors. And in which journals did they publish, for example? Because if you at the point, jumping a few slides ahead, where you want to determine, well, what would be a fitting publication for me to A, read, or B, maybe have as an option to submit my manuscript to. So the analyze result function allows us to see the publication titles based on a topic, a keyword, and even a category. So if I go into publication titles, it will refine it so I can see, well, many of these were published in the journal Blood. There's also leukemia, lymphoma, also leukemia, best practice research, clinical hematology. So you are able to also use this aspect to really identify the journals that you might want to A, access, or B, publish in. Going back, I'm really easily able to clear it further. So if my field, you're still looking at gene expression profiling, but it's not specifically, so you might want to maybe search for something else, maybe autism as an example. You are able to use that and look into that space, and we can see expression profiling. There's a lot of course, research going on and determining causes of autism. But yes, so then we can see the records that have been published. All right, you can go through the same aspect and you can analyze, refilter, and so forth. Right. One of the other things that we are able to do is also to create a citation report. A citation report is a report that allows us to look at the overall citations to a record, to a result list. So in other words, if I wanted to know how many times these 25 papers have been cited in total, I can run a citation report. It's a really helpful report because it also allows us to do this on a researcher level. All right, so let's say, for example, you want to do an author search and you want to track and see from that perspective, what is an author's work and how would the author be able to look at his H-index. And for that purpose, I'm going to just go into do a author search. So I'm moving away from a topic search, and I'm going to do Wingfield and M. And I'm going to click on search. Now, what would be really useful is, of course, if you have this person's researcher ID. So in this case, the person's researcher ID, and I'll talk about the Publons profile in a short while. So we can see this person is also Wingfield. He's got 320 records that have not yet been claimed. So those are his more recent papers. And then there's another one. So I'm just going to go into his one profile. So this gives me the author profile, and the author profile really is about the person's work. You can look into the records that he's published. You can see the citations to his papers. You can view the complete citation report. And in this case, I'm now going to go to his view, his set of results. So viewing his set of results will take me to the result list as we did a topic search. And this is where the citation report really comes into play, where we are able to look at our complete citation footprint. So of course, we can then see the number of papers the person has published. We can also see the H index. You are able to export the full report. If you have any questions around any of the indicators, you are welcome to reach out to me. An H-index was created by Dr. J.E. Hirsch, and he first created it using the Web of Science because of its reputation of cover-to-cover indexing and ensuring that there are no holes in the data. It's an average citation indication, which means in this case, Prof. Wingfield's papers, H-index is 73, which means 73 of his papers or more were cited. Received at least 73 citations. So of course he has a high average citation indication. We can see his citing papers. We can see it with and without self-citations, and of course the total number of citations. His average number of citations per paper is 30. And we can see the actual number of papers that he's received citations and in which year. So this paper received 525 citations in the last 5 years. Of course, 2021, not yet full year data. All right. So this is how you would be able to create a citation report. Once again, it is available in your result list. Moving from here, you are also able to analyze his results. So let's say, for example, you're keeping tabs on what Prof. Wingfield is doing. You can analyze his results and see where he's publishing. If you want to see the journals in which he publishes a lot, you are able to do this, and you can see it's mycological research. He also publishes in the South African Journal of Botany. So this will also, once again, guide you in where you can publish. All right. Doing another example, just to show you how you would be able to look at something different. So let's do financial literacy. And then we can do youth. And we click on search. So this is quite a unique field, but in the field of accounting, which is also, of course, increasing in the research output, financial literacy among the youth is one of the key topics that they are looking at. So here we can see some of the records that are being displayed. So just using different results. What we can see in the result list as well throughout. So we've learned how to filter. We can track emerging trends by using the analyzed results. We can create a citation report. What we are also able to do is, of course, save records as we go to our marked list. And this has now been added to my marked list. As you add more records to your marked list and you've done completely different stages, different searches, as you can see, you can create new lists, which helps you to differentiate within your marked list between different lists. But I've just selected unified so that you can see the number increasing in my marked list. Also, what we are able to see is a full scope of a record. So this is the title of the paper. So once we click on the title of the paper, we are able to go to the full record where more information is being displayed. Some of the information included in here, of course, is the authors. So let's say, for example, you want to see all the papers published by this author. You are welcome to click on this person's researcher ID, also to view his profile, or you can click on the author's name and it will take you to records published by this author. On the left-hand side, we can see the number of citations to this paper. If I click on these citations, it will take me to the number of citing papers. So also keeping tabs on what, how many times this paper has been cited and who has cited this work. We can then again analyze those records and look at the titles where the citing papers are published to once again support our manuscript submission. We can also look at the references, and they've added a lot of new features. So you can also see a suggestive link, so you can see you may also like. So if you are interested in reading this paper, there are other papers that could also be of interest. So that will also help you within your early research career. And then, of course, we've got keywords in Keywords Plus. So if I click on financial behavior, it's going to take me to records published on this topic. At the bottom of the screen, I've got journal information. All right. So this is really just a brief overview of how to use the Web of Science. And what I'm going to do now is moving away from the search examples and just to show you some of the resources that are available. So one of the things that we can do is view EndNote Click. Now, EndNote Click is a full text access link resolver. So if I may quickly jump to my presentation. So it allows us to stop clicking and really start reading. So what EndNote Click allows us to do is access research papers in one click. So what you can do to download EndNote Click, you can go to the products, you go to EndNote Click, and you install whichever, so Chrome, Mozilla, Internet Explorer, so you're able to download the plugin for your browser. Once you've plugged in and you've logged in, it's really nice because it works on all devices. And for example, we can see that once I've logged in, I am able to find the full text for this specific paper. So it will appear on any of the records that you log into. I just want to go to the results again. It will easily access your open access results and also some of the full text that you subscribe to. Okay, so you'll see it appear at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. So we've briefly talked about accessing full text. We've briefly talked about how to really determine trends and to evaluate and the findings and looking at a citation footprint. What we've also done is a author search. So just to quickly reiterate what I discussed or presented on last week is to build your profile with Publons, and that's also available as an additional resource within the platform, or you can go to Publons directly. So Publons allows you to build your profile. You can track your citation metrics based on documents within the Web of Science. It also allows you to import from ORCID or your bibliographic reference manager, for example, if you're using EndNote or Mendeley. And it's also a downloadable record. The really nice thing is it allows you to create your CV. So I'm going to use this time and share a quick intro video with you, which I think will really make it clear to understanding the complete benefits of Publons. So just give me a brief second. Let me just quickly open this up.
The world's researchers use their published articles, citation metrics, peer review contributions, and journal editing work, all in one place. To create a free Publons profile, simply go to publons.com, select Create a Profile, and register. Once you've registered, you will land on your profile dashboard, your one-stop shop for managing your profile. Get started by adding your publication history from the Publications tab. We make it easy to import your publications directly from the Web of Science.
Apology, I think I just need to set my audio. Just give me a brief second.
Once you've added your publications, we'll retrieve your citation metrics from the Web of Science, the world's most trusted scholarly citation network. You can also import your publications using a range of other options, including from ORCID, DOI or title search, or file upload. Once all your publications are added, you can easily track your H-index, citations over time, and more from your dashboard summary. Publons also lets you effortlessly track your verified peer review and journal editing work thanks to integrations with thousands of the world's academic journals. Be sure to enable the Auto-Add Reviews feature from your review settings to have reviews performed for our thousands of partner journals automatically added to your profile. For any other review records, you can forward the thank you for reviewing emails received from journal editors to reviews@publons.com. We verify the reviews and add them to your profile. Keeping track of all this work in one place makes it easy to demonstrate your impact as an author, journal editor, and peer reviewer in funding and promotion applications with your downloadable record that you can include in your CV. Register for a free Publons profile today and track your work as a published author, journal editor, and trusted peer reviewer, and show your research impact.
All right, so I hope that convinces you to open up your profile on Publons. To quickly show you how to get to it, it's really easy. So if we go into the Web of Science, you are able to go once again where I found EndNote Click. You'll also see Publons. So if you open this up in a new link, you're able to then access it. You are able to access it. You can log in. You can import your publications. And if you have any questions around that, you're welcome to reach out. You can register. It's very easy to register. Also, you can use Publons to browse. So, for example, if you wanted to search for someone specifically at your institution, so I can go, for example, Rhodes University. And you can see the researchers registered there. We can go into John Mack, who I've also used last time. We can see he's an academy mentor that really helps others to become peer reviewers within their work. But as you can see, he's imported 191 publications. He's also conducted 388 peer reviews, which is really helpful to see that prior to Publons, you weren't able to really communicate the work that you've authored and the work that you've peer reviewed. And within Publons, you are able to do it. So going to your metrics, just quickly showcasing, you are able to look based on Web of Science core collection data, some metrics, so time cited and reviews. But as an early career researcher, it really is important. I mean, you want to promote the work that you do, you want to contribute, and you want to be involved in the scholarly community, and Publons is really a very helpful way to get you started in communicating your full scope of work that you've done. You'll also be able to gain more publication tractions, metrics, and it just gives you the overall metrics. So we can see review to publication ratio is 2:1, and once you have your complete profile and it's up to date, it also helps to inform the author search within the Web of Science because you claim your records. So it's an intuitive algorithm. So therefore, we advise everyone to register on Publons as well, even if you have an ORCID account, because you can seamlessly import from them. All right. Okay, so I'm going to step away from this topic. Next in line is really to just mention and make you aware of my research assistant, which is called Myra. So this brings the Web of Science to the palm of your hand. So anyone can go to the Google Store or the iStore and download the Web of Science, Myra. You go and search for Myra, my research assistant or Web of Science, and then you are able to log in using your login credentials that you currently have. If you don't have login credentials and you haven't really used the Web of Science extensively, I would advise to go in via your library, go into the Web of Science, register yourself on the platform. So let me just get to my page. So let me just move this. I just want to move this page so I can, sorry, it's just in the way here. There we go. That's much better. All right, so you literally go in, you would have a login or register option, and then you register yourself. Then that very same registration, you are then able to use that login credential for your app. All right. Okay, so also to quickly show you on the Web of Science page, there is the My Research Assistant. There's also a short video, but I'll be sending this link around to really help you to look into My Research Assistant. Okay. Right, just following that, just to touch upon where should I be publishing as part of my research strategy. Before I go there, I just want to monitor if there are any questions. Author citation alert. I would like to be alerted via email of publications that cite Prof. Becky member. Thank you very much, Philistia. The author alerts are as in the classic interface. You can set it up on citation level and on journal level. I'll reach out to find out how you would be able to set it up on author level, but my advice would be is to do a search on Prof. Becky, and then within his record, on that record, but of course that would be then citation to that specific record. So they don't have a author citation alert that can be set up, but of course you have access as part of UNISA to InCites, which really gives us a quick overview of someone's citation work. But let me touch base with them and I'll get back to you on that specific question. I know you've also asked it previously in the classic version, so thank you very much for that. I'll be able to get back to you. And also I received a question around the BibTeX export. I'm also waiting for feedback on that matter and I'll be able to revert fairly soon. Yes, you are able to share the recording with faculty members. You are welcome to do so. And if they have any questions and they want us to arrange a session for your institution, I have actually done a session for a specific faculty at UNISA earlier this year. Happy to do so. So reach out to me and I'll be able to arrange very specific niche sessions with specific faculties, departments, and institutions. All right. Okay, so where should I be publishing? So this is really about stepping away from the Web of Science and just briefly going into the journal citation reports and understanding journal metrics. So we know what to do within the Web of Science. You can do a topic search, you can do an author search, we can analyze the results, which we've done earlier on, and we can then go and do analyze results. So if I go once again into the search that I did, if I want to determine titles that would be applicable for my field, it's really easy to just go and analyze the results and go and find publication titles. This will also inform your publication strategy because you would be able to see where others are publishing based on that specific topic. And you can use that in your guide on where to, especially for very niche areas. I once had to do a session on, for example, influence of religion in jail. And someone had to publish and you didn't know where to publish. So we quickly did a topic search in the Web of Science, and we found a possibility of nearly 20 publications where he thought there wasn't any journal that you would be able to submit his manuscript to. So it really is about understanding what journals are out there and what papers are being indexed and published with them. All right. But of course, it's also useful to use independent indicators to try and showcase not only the number of papers published in a specific publication, but also to understand what is the citation metrics behind specific journals. So in any full record within the Web of Science, so if I go into a specific full record, you are able to look into things. You'll see at the bottom of the full record things on the journal impact factor information. So journals that are indexed in the Web of Science core collection are also being evaluated for indexing within an analytical resource called the Journal Citation Reports. The Journal Citation Reports is the source of the journal impact factor. So we can see the journal impact factor already being displayed, and you can see within your result and within the pull record already within the Web of Science, you'll be able to determine the journal impact factor. If you want to really go and search journals and look at their journal ranking, you have to use one of the tools that you most likely have access to. This is dependent on your institution subscribing to it. So I'm just going to link to InCites, where I am able to log in, and I will be able to migrate to Journal Citation Reports. So not sure if you've noticed, really, really excited. The new Journal Citation Reports was launched on the 30th of June. At our end, it happened late at night. So there are resources available. If you want to know more about it, they have sent out communication. If you haven't received that, please reach out to me and I'll send it to you. So in line with their resources, we can see that they, let me just move this diagram again. We can see that they've got the guided tour. It's welcome to the new journal citation report. There's information around the journal impact factor. And they've also introduced a new citation indicator, which is a normalized indicator across sciences, social sciences, and arts and humanities. Yes, that's right. So for those that are familiar with journal citation reports, the new journal citation reports also includes arts and humanities citation index content. For the younger researchers in the room, prior to this, the journal citation reports only covered titles from the journal citation, the science citation index and the social sciences citation index. Very important to note, the journal impact factor is still only created using journal data from the sciences and the social sciences. The journal citation indicator, which is a new bibliometric indicator, goes across everything. All right, so I'm going to showcase an example. It really is easy. You can browse your journals. Also really helpful, and they're bringing it across their platforms. You can, this is also a function available within the EndNote. It's also a function available on the master journal list. But this is where you are able to find journals based on your abstract and based on your topic of your paper. So it gives you a listing of journals that would be fitting for you. So you can log in. So you can simply log in. You can create your free account. And once you've logged in, you should be able to, let's just see. Oh, sorry, running into oh, sorry about that. I don't know. So I'm just quickly going to use, sorry about that. Let me quickly log in using Sylvia's access. I've reset my password, but I don't think it's active yet. Apology. Okay, perfect. Glad that helps. All right, so I can literally just add in, let's do gene expression profiling, and we can do genetics, or we can even do it more specifically. Let's do financial management and financial management as an example. And you click on find journals. Of course, this is a very generic example, but you would be able to see how it works. So this functionality, it then takes you to the master journal list, which is the listing of where you find all the journals that are indexed in the Web of Science. And while it's searching for the journals, it's going to give me a list of journals that you can submit your manuscript to. So it's a really helpful addition. So it's also, they brought that link into the new journal citation report. So you don't have to go out of the journal citation reports to go to the match manuscript. It's also a function that's available, a link that they've made available in EndNote. So if you attended yesterday's EndNote session, when we talked about match manuscript, it's the same function. So they've brought this link into all their resources where you are able to either go via the Web of Science to the master journal list, or from the journal citation reports, you are able to also be able to access the match manuscript where you log in. So just to quickly, while it's still loading, you go to match manuscript. It takes you out of the journal citation reports into the Web of Science master journal list. As you can see there, these are just coming soon. So this is from the, it's constantly being developed. It's a brand new interface. But the reason why they decided to already make it available is, of course, with the new indicator and with the availability now with art and humanities content. So we can browse journals. So it really is, sorry. There we go, it's logged me out. So you go into browse journals. So here we are able to go and browse journals specifically. And I have previously added filters. You can go and change your filters. So at the left-hand side, these are the filters. So for those who are familiar with journal citation reports, you can, it's very similar to the categories, but it's just easy. You can just go to filters. So I have filtered for the category of agricultural economics, but you can go and search for something very specifically. So let's do, for example, biodiversity. You can also go and filter for publishers as an example. So you can go and search for this specific publisher. You can go and search for specific indexes. You can determine whether you want to go and search open access. So whether you only want to look at open access, if you want to go the open access publication route. The journal impact factor quartile. So quartile 1 are the journals that are ranked within the top 25% for that given field. Quartile 2, top 50%, quartile 3, top 75%, and then, yes, it's the last quartile. And then this is the journal citation indicator. So if you have any questions, of course, we will be in contact with training material and reach out to different institutions. But just as a brief overview for early career researchers to help you get started is using the journal citation report to determine whether a journal is fitting for me to research or to publish in. So if I am in the field of, I've selected biodiversity, I can go and I can go apply. It's going to list all those titles in biodiversity. So we can see from, we've got global change biology. If I go on the title, it's taking me to the full record. And here I can see its index in the Science Citation Index expanded. We can see that the category in which it's indexed, there are 3 different categories. And this is where understanding the journal impact factor and the journal ranking comes into play. So we can see this journal has an impact factor of 10.863, which means on average, a paper published in this journal over the last 2 years would have received at least 10 citations. The citable items, this also gives me a good understanding from a researcher's perspective of which of the items are being published in this journal, and would my paper also be fitting with the scope of the publication. So you can see the citable items once again are the papers being published. Citing sources are the references. So this is the journal citation indicator. The global average is represented by 1. So based on the normalized indicator, it's performing above global average. And we can also look at more information around the open access. So we can see how many open access. So there are 308 open access papers. So 20% of this publication has been published in open access. And then right at the bottom, we have ranked by journal impact factor. And that helps you to understand the impact factor in context of its subject category. So for example, an impact factor of 10.83 ranks this the first journal out of 60 journals for biodiversity conservation, which is a Q1 journal. It ranked 5th out of 166 for ecology. And then, of course, there was another field. And I think we just need to scroll down. There we go. And it's ranked 9th out of 274 for environmental sciences. So we can see it's remained constantly as a Q1 title. So once again, you click on the journal title just to go back. So just go to browse journals, where you are able to browse the journals. You click on the title that you are interested in, and then you'll get more information and independent evaluating indicators that can help inform your research strategy. All right, so the last thing that I wanted to mention to you is just the Web of Science Academy. We think it's a really great initiative by Clarivate. We'll circulate the link, but you can enroll, and it really is about becoming a research integrity expert. So you're looking at enrollment in, for example, mentoring and peer review, or co-reviewing with a mentor, reviewing in the sciences, an introduction to peer review, or good citation behavior. And as you can see, it contains open enrollment. So you are welcome to enroll. Some of it has an allocated time frame, so it takes about 30 minutes to complete the course. The good thing is you get also a certificate of completion, so to show you where it is available. So these are different links that you can visit. But let me quickly show you the products and services. Sorry, let me just see where I found it now. Let's just go to the one page. There we go. So this is the Web of Science Academy. And as you can see, it's really nice. You can go into the Web of Science Academy and you'll be able to register yourself and enroll for any of these courses. All right. Okay, so I think I've just finished in the nick of time based on the time that we started. Let me see if there are any further questions. Okay. Thank you. None there. Any other questions or comments? Please make use of the chat box. All right. Well, if there aren't any further questions, I want to thank each of you for your time today. I'll be sharing all these links on the Clarivate page. There's a wealth of training information. There's also training underneath products and services. There's live training, recorded webinars that you can do, for example, for EndNote. And then, of course, there's the LibGuides as well, where you are able to, for example, look at EndNote Click, getting started in 2 minutes, EndNote Click for libraries. So I will ensure that you get all the necessary links in the follow-up correspondent piece. On that note, once again, thank you so much for your time, and